Morning everyone. Welcome to Mobility Outlook. I'm here at the Mahanagar Gas corporate office at Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai's commercial hub. With me today is Mr. Ashu Shinghal, Managing Director. And we are here to talk about a host of aspects. Ashu, good morning, and welcome. Thank you for agreeing to be part of this interview. So let's start off on what I would call a freewheeling note. What really is if you could describe the situation in the gas sector today, more specifically what I would call in the auto-related field, what are your thoughts on this?
See, the sector is in the right space. I would say the sweet spot is in terms of CGD sector, if I'm saying, the city gas distribution, and mobility is a part of it. So things are moving in the right direction in terms of, let us say, priority given to the domestic gas being allocated to the CGD sector. The two major developments. One, the Kirit Parikh committee recommendations were adopted from 8th April of this year, wherein the prices were, floor and ceiling were given, and the prices were aligned with the current market of Indian crude basket, 10% slope. So that got some relief. Otherwise, the domestic gas prices would have risen more than $10, which is now at $6.50 per MMBTU, the prices for the domestic gas. The other aspect is the HPHT gas, that is high pressure, high temperature gas. Again, the priority was allocated to CGD sector over other sectors, so that whatever shortfall of APM is there for CNG and PNG, we are getting that gas. The other aspect of mobility is that new and newer models of OEMs are coming for building more CNG vehicles, and that makes it more interesting. So we are on creating more infrastructure as a logistic company, creating the CNG infrastructure and PNG. And second aspect is that the policy front is giving us support.
Right. You know, this
now
is
just one more thing which I would like to add on is that the gas prices have also been stabilized after seeing the tumultuous behavior of moving from $2 per MMBTU to around $60 per MMBTU. So now the prices have been stabilized since last 7-8 months. So that gives relief to the customer and also the companies who are working in this sector to do the pricing accordingly.
Before I get into the part of a whole lot of car makers now keen on getting onto the CNG bandwagon, another practical aspect is, when it really started decades earlier, and the biggest problem at that point used to be the whole aspect of infrastructure. Especially in a city like Bombay, now you have a whole lot of things like the metro construction, the congestion of space. So how challenging is it when you really want to expand infrastructure, grow your network? Does that become a huge task?
Absolutely, because Mumbai, as you rightly said, is a very congested space in terms of the space availability. The roads are already concretized, so digging up any place you find plethora of underground utilities. So laying the work becomes very difficult. And the working season is very limited. Only 4 to 5 months we actually get, because the rainy season, before 1 month from rain start, the permissions are not given. And after the rain stops again, it takes more than a month for us to start the work. So effectively, the working season is only from November to, let us say, March. And April it starts stopping. The permissions are not allowed to dig the roads. So two things. One, that the space is highly difficult to get for laying the pipelines. Two, the reinstatement charges are also very high in and around Mumbai. So, and third, the limited working season. And fourth, if I may say, the PNG is being given to high-rise buildings. So working in heights is also a challenge. So, although we are very proud to say that we adopt the world's best safety procedures in Mahanagar Gas, so that whatever work is being done at very high-rise buildings, let us say 70th floor or 60th floor or 50th floor, there are proper safety arrangements are done.
Wow.
So it's a difficult thing, but we have been over a period of time trying out various models to see that, like we have tied up with oil marketing companies, IOC, BP, HP, to get a space in their retail outlets to sell our LNG, which has been a good help to the company.
So give me an idea of what really is the other plans ahead. In terms of capex, in terms of networking, more specifically to address what I would call the automotive industry, tying up with OEs and supplying CNG at their outlet. What are your plans?
See, we also want to see that the volume growth happens, because that is one of the most critical point which whenever we talk to investors, they come up that what is the plan for Mahanagar Gas to grow the volumes. Now, as I said, that the OEMs are coming up with newer models like all Maruti and Tata and Eicher and others. They are coming up with new CNG variants. Now, very recently, you will be happy to know that to give this more impetus, there is a difference between the cost of a petrol vehicle or a diesel vehicle versus CNG vehicle. CNG vehicles are a bit slightly costlier than the petrol and diesel vehicles. So to absorb some of that cost, we are giving fuel card of around 20,000 for small low cost vehicles, and we have tied up with Maruti, and from September first week we have initiated this scheme.
Wow.
And for bigger heavy trucks and other things where the retrofit cost or the initial capital cost is in differential is in the range of say 8 to 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs to 10 lakh rupees per vehicle cost. So we are funding almost 50% of it. So the heavy truck somewhere around 5 lakh also we are funding that amount, so that there is a incentive for any customer to go for a CNG truck.
Wow. Does that in a way take a toll on when you offer such soaps and fiscals? Are you also taking a hit on your bottom line in the process?
See, we have to make a balance between the volumes,
Right.
the future growth potential,
Right.
as well as our margins.
That's right.
So it's always a give and take. If we have to see the future longevity of the company, we have to make sure that the new vehicles are entering into the space. Therefore, we take a compromise on margins. But just to add on to that, we are having healthy margins. So
Right.
therefore, we are launching more of these schemes.
And sometimes, as you so rightly said, a bait is very important to be able to generate the numbers at a subsequent date. So what are the capex, what kind of a capex plan do you have for this fiscal, and even, or do you have typically what you call even a 5-year roadmap in terms of what you're looking forward to in building a CNG network?
Right. So last year we had a capex outlay of around 700 CR. This year again we want to spend around 700 to 800 CR. So going forward 5 years we have similar plan to around 6,000, 5,000 to 6,000 CR will be spent in 5 to 6 years of time. So that is our thing. Main focus will be the domestic PNG connection, that pipe natural gas to all the buildings.
Right.
The second will be creating infrastructure for CNG, which is to roll out more stations in Raigad, Thane, Mumbai, and also acquisition is happening of a new company called Unison Enviro Private Limited, which is under approval by the regulator. Once it is done, then we will have 3 GAs already with us, and 3 more will be added.
Wow.
So it will be acting as a subsidiary company. So it will add infrastructure to us. So it's a good acquisition which we are thinking. So capex plan will be first that CNG infrastructure will be created. Second, PNG network, this acquisition. And third, we are looking for more diversification options, wherein we want to see that like CBG is one of them, compressed biogas.
Right.
So we have signed an MOU with BMC, and we will be putting up this plant in 1.5 years of time.
Right.
And also we have formed an SPV to create LNG infrastructure in terms of creating more LNG dispatch retail outlets, I would say, in the state of Maharashtra as of to start with.
Right. What's your take on it? Because you are a gas veteran, you've been in this industry for decades, and now you're looking at a distinct situation where, at least again in the mobility arena, the share of I think of diesel is gradually falling, and cleaner and cleaner options are being pursued. The government is also very keen that we move towards greater sustainability. So do you see, therefore, CNG playing a big role there?
CNG will play a big role because if you see Delhi, after the intervention of Honorable Supreme Court, the air pollution has come down considerably.
Right.
And one of the bigger contributor was CNG vehicles, which has come up in Delhi.
Right.
In Mumbai also, very recently I was going through that the pollution level in Mumbai is also going up and it was maybe some days worse than Delhi air quality index.
Right.
So having said that, I believe CNG is the right way, because let's talk about long haul trucks. Currently they are using diesel.
Yes.
Now hydrogen is still some way to go in terms of mobility solutions, because the infrastructure needs to be created,
Right.
the cost of hydrogen is high. Electric vehicles again needs battery weight is heavy and the range anxiety is there. Again infrastructure needs to be created. So in our view, that's what we run our strategy exercise. We found that LNG in long haul can play an important part, and that can be a transition fuel, and subsequently all these fuel can coexist. It is not that CNG will be phased out after EVs come in. There is a space for all these fuels. Like we have on-road vehicles from diesel, petrol, CNG, now EVs. So all can coexist. It is not that one will be outplacing and displacing everything else. Obviously, the polluting fuels will go out first, and maybe first petrol can be phased out first, because there are substitutes available to petrol.
Correct.
The substitutes to diesels are not that much of available.
Right.
So there CNG can play an important part. CNG or LNG.
Right. And I guess a lot of automakers are also echoing what you're saying, at least the two you mentioned, Maruti and Tata Motors, who are pursuing CNG very effectively. So in your view, I mean, at one point you do know that everyone wanted to go 100% electric, but that's
Which
clearly,
company?
at one point there was a vision that, electric would be the sole answer. But I guess in a manner of speaking, CNG is as clean and will address the problem of clean air. Your thoughts on that?
CNG it's a matter of comparison. The cost, the pollution created by diesel is much higher as compared to CNG. Even if when we talk about electric vehicles, we are using almost 70% of electricity which is generated through coal.
Yes.
And then there are transmission distribution losses. So from the time the electricity is fed into the grid and comes to the electric vehicle, it already has a carbon footprint. And we have some studies which says that with the current distribution mix or the generation mix in electricity sector, the carbon footprint of EVs is higher than a CNG vehicle in terms of total carbon footprint. But going forward, this is going to change because more and more green electricity will be generated into the grid. Then EV will have a very less footprint. But when we talk about the comparison with diesel and petrol, CNG has much better advantages.
Right.
So there are solutions which cannot be fully converted into electric vehicles. And at the same time, we have to reduce the carbon footprint. So diesel and petrol will be phased out, and CNG and electric will play a longer role.
Right.
And I don't think that CNG can be completely phased out. CNG, when I say it, also includes LNG.
Yes.
So in certain applications, maybe CNG, LNG will continue to grow along with electric solutions.
Right. Now what is this is something that always, the world is in such a volatile place, and it's very fashionable to talk about VUCA all the time, and right now you see the kind of aggression that's spanning across the Middle East, the Russia-Ukraine war which hasn't really ceased. And as a managing director of Mahanagar Gas, are those concerns for you, both in terms of volatility, in terms of supply, pricing in the near future? How do you strategize? How do you plan?
Absolutely. Being exposed to LNG, which we have to supply to industry and commercial sectors, and part of it to PNG and CNG segment also. So volatility in the gas prices can be a big concern to us. And to address that problem, we have gone for more sourcing of gas on term basis. Right, 3 years to 5 years of term we have contacted with GAIL and other suppliers, so that gives more stability in the price regime. Earlier, we also were exposed to more of spot gas, where this volatility was more damaging to the company's financial numbers. So to address that, as soon as the prices started fluctuating, we have gone for more term contracts, which gives us more stability going forward.
Right.
Like we have contracts with Henry Hub, which is US gas. Since US has got surplus of gas and the quantum is much high, the stability of Henry Hub is much higher, which is a price index for sourcing gas through Henry Hub. Right. And also we have gone for certain crude linked prices. So a portfolio balance is maintained, so to give more stability in the volatility in the prices also.
And right now, of course, Mahanagar Gas is Maharashtra primarily. But for you, again, I repeat, as somebody who's been marinated in the gas industry for this long, the whole aspect of embracing gas at a national level is not happening. You find large tracts of the country which still depend on fossil fuels. From your point of view, would a nationwide distribution of CNG actually be viable? The government has gone on record to say, but like you said, in a city like Mumbai, where even laying pipes, infrastructure is a problem, Do you expect this to be easier said than done?
There are obviously challenges to it, but the policy support and the way the government is giving the priority to CGD sector, the things are quite encouraging. Why I say so is because almost 98% of population is going to covered after the minimum work program is over. Very recently on 12th of October, the 12th round has also come up. Right. So almost entire 100% of population will be getting covered by the GAs or geographical areas which are already licensed.
Right.
So in 4 to 5 years of time, the infrastructure will roll out.
Yes.
And once that, it's always a chicken and egg story.
Yes.
About customers will look after the infrastructure, OEMs will look after to the infrastructure, and infrastructure will look out when the volumes will come. So, I mean, since first step is taken by the Government of India to prioritize CGD, to
right.
roll out policies which support investment in the sector.
Right.
So, infrastructure is coming out.
Right.
And once the infrastructure is in place, OEM will also have confidence and the customers will also get confidence.
Right.
So Mumbai is very specific because it is very crowded space, but you don't find similar problems existing in other parts of the country. If you roll out, I mean, leave out Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata and
Delhi.
Metros, Delhi.
Right.
Other spaces are fully available.
Yes.
Like when we are working in Raigad, the problem is opposite. We have to lay long infrastructure to get very small volume.
Right.
So the area is very vast,
yes.
and the volumes are low.
Right.
So space is available besides few metro cities where you can roll out the infrastructure and roll out the infrastructure in such a manner that it is less carbon intensive.
So a national grid, a national gas grid is entirely conceivable in your view?
See, national gas grid is not done by CGD companies. That's done by, let us say, company like GAIL, IOC and GSPL and Reliance and other companies which are made in the distribution network.
Correct.
So those are the trunk cross-country pipelines which are already in place. So around 22,000 kilometer pipelines are in place, and in another 4-5 years it is going to be around 33,000, which will be the backbone for supplying to the different customer segments. And one of the main important customer segments is obviously CGD, which is one of the sector which can pull up the demand.
Right. What's your own take on, like let's say you did mention biogas, you didn't mention LNG and electric. Is there a way you see a Mahanagar Gas be an active participant in, let's say, an area like electric, for instance, which again is, being touted as one of the big solutions going forward?
See, electric space we have been looking very closely because it is directly impacting our business.
Right.
So what we found that the electric is more prevalent in two-wheelers and three-wheelers. And two-wheelers we don't have any CNG, so that doesn't impact our business. Three-wheelers also, again, obviously three-wheelers will be the first to be electrified, then it rolls out to four-wheelers and other segments. Three-wheelers also we are okay with it in terms of seeing that there is a lot of queuing problems in CNG stations, so it will relieve to some extent. The quantum of offtake in CNG in a three-wheeler is less. So we are keenly exploring some of the equity opportunities in electric value chain. And as and when they fructify, we will announce to the public, but we are exploring some of the opportunities, yes. Because we find that it is going to be the future of mobility, electric vehicles, besides CNG and LNG.
So, could you perhaps elaborate? I mean, when you...
No, I can't elaborate, sorry for that, because it is still under consideration, so we have not taken any decision on that.
Right. Yeah. And of course, I did say that I was very keen on checking out, everyone is talking about digitalization.
Yes.
Is that playing a big role even for Mahanagar Gas? And
Absolutely.
perhaps you could elaborate on that.
Yes, digitization is one area where, I mean, you can't just stay away from it.
Precisely.
Right?
Even the media.
Absolutely. I mean, COVID has several negatives.
Right.
But one positive I have to take from COVID is digitization.
Right.
The way we can interact and have board meetings through video conferencing was not available earlier.
Right.
People did not have that
Absolutely.
confidence.
Absolutely.
Right now, many of the meetings are happening just across. People are traveling in the car and doing from the VC, from the mobile, they are attending a board meeting. I mean, that's practically happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what I want to say in digitization, we have given a lot of emphasis. In last 1 year, we have run our strategy exercise and also done our digital strategy exercise.
Okay.
And in that, we have created many, we have taken several initiatives, like we have updated our website. We have updated our web on this mobile app. became more proactive in terms of mapping CNG stations. Then also we have gone for several initiatives for which are consumer friendly. The way they can pay the bill or pay the bill for CNG filling. We are also mapping the vehicles which are coming to the stations and correlating it with the Vahan portal. So we have started a digitization of few of our COCO outlets to see that the number plates are read, and we relate it to the Vahan portal and see whether the genuine numbers are there for hydro testing of the cylinder, which is a safety recommendation from PESO, the regulator, that any gas which is filled should be having a valid hydro tested cylinder. So that is available in Vahan portal. So we correlate both the things and see whether the genuine car is getting filled or not.
Wow. So digitalization is clearly...
Absolutely. There is no doubt. Going forward, we will take further more initiative about digitizing in-house procedures within processes and procedures within the company, as well as minimizing the physical contact with whatever customers we can. And that also is going way the forward. People also like millennium age people or X whatever generation you said, they are always on the mobile, always on the go. So they love it.
And your workforce?
Even as for me in our age, we are very comfortable making all payments through scanning and whatever. Codes and whatever. I mean, people are not giving menus right now. They are just scan it and order the menus. So digitalization is the way. We are sync with it.
And your workforce has also embraced it.
Absolutely.
The people within,
yes.
That's fantastic.
We have got SAP, ERP SAP implementation. We are going for its upgradation. We have got integrated control room. We have got each patrolman who vehicles moves on the ground is linked to our control room in the security control room, where the movement of each vehicle is monitored, whether he is over speeding or less speeding. So we do all analysis so that there is less hazard to public as well as to our infrastructure in terms of optimization, in terms of performance, in terms of efficiencies, and so on and so forth. I mean, digitization, you can keep on moving and saying the advantages which it will bring out, because it will reduce the forest papers are reduced. That is one advantage. The ease of doing business, the less money circulation is required. So digitization is the way forward, and we are exploring several ways to see how we can further incorporate or inculcate the digitization process in the company.
Best wishes, Ashu. I think the journey has begun in right earnest and it's going to be exciting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for
It was really a pleasure.
Thank you so much for hosting.